Number 10, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. What is the cost budgeted for this financial year of the 30 or more positions in the Change Management Office within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the consultants engaged by the Ministry on the change process?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
I'm advised that the 30 positions referred to in the question include both MFAT staff temporarily assigned to the change team and change program consultants on fixed-term contracts. In addition, services are being contracted from a range of external consultancy firms. The cost of all three of these categories in the current year is $9.2 million from the Ministry's budget of $398 million.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Supplementary question. Of the $9.2 million that he has invested in what is regarded as a failed change process, does that include the $250,000 paid to a man in Singapore to come to New Zealand once every 6 weeks of $250,000, which annualised equals $1.5 million a year, and an organisation called Change by Design paid thousands to give advice to stressed employees such as get a pet or take up yoga?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
Speaker, the contracts that the member refers to would have been entered into by the Chief Executive, who has authority to enter such contracts.
I apologise to the Minister. I say to the Labor front bench again, show some courtesy to their colleague. I believe he's asked a question in which there was genuine public interest, and I believe members of the House want to hear the answer. Honourable Murray McCully.
Mr Speaker, the particular example that was cited by the member is one that the Chief Executive had full authority to enter into. The matter has, as he is probably aware, been raised in a number of media articles in recent times, and I have raised the matter with the Ministry accordingly.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Question, Mr Speaker. Have 49 out of 53 of his heads of mission written to the Ministry on the 15th of March expressing their quote-unquote deep concern that the new business model that he's just admitted spending $9 million on will, quote, undermine or even destroy, end quote, the Ministry's key strengths and capabilities?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
Speaker, I can't confirm that statement, but I can say that there have been a large number of exchanges taking place between heads of mission and other staff members and the Chief Executive. I have taken an overview of some of those comments, and it's fair to say that many of them are strongly critical of the change program. That is one of the reasons that I decided to issue a 4-page letter trying to ensure that the future discussion should focus on those areas in which change could be constructively considered and eliminate those areas where further discussion was going to be destructive.
The point of order, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to table a letter dated 15th of March 2012, MFAT in confidence, signed by 49 of our top High Commissioners and Ambassadors, saying precisely what I said to the Minister.
Leave us sort of table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
Supplementary.
The Honourable Phil Goff, supplementary.
Mr Speaker, when 95% of his top frontline staff, most of whom he has personally approved the appointment of, say that the proposed changes that he spent $9 million on will, quote, severely curtail New Zealand's economic and foreign policy objectives, end quote, for years to come, does he consider that $9.2 million spent on consultants and the Change Office a total waste of money?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
The member's original question asked for the budget for the year, not for the amount expended so far. And so the figures I've given him are the budgeted figures for the entire year, not the amount spent as he's just asserted to the House. I do want to say, though, that the heads of mission and other staff members who have made their concerns known as part of this consultation process have been listened to carefully by me, and I have publicly from the beginning of this process urged that the Ministry leadership should listen to their comments carefully, and that is why I have tried to ensure that future discussions are focused on areas where there can be constructive dialogue and eliminate those areas in which further discussion will be destructive.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Speaker, why did the Minister not consult with his top frontline staff before committing the expenditure of $9.2 million that he's practically admitted to this House now has been a waste of money?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
Speaker, the member as a former minister will know that the process of modernising the practices of the ministry is entirely a matter for the Chief Executive and one which he has full authority to engage in.
Supplementary question,
Honourable
Mr.
Phil
Speaker.
Goff.
Does the Minister now take responsibility for budgeting for and will have spent $9.2 million on change proposals that he has been intimately involved in from the start, or is he continuing to blame his Chief Executive Officer who constitutionally can't answer back to his Minister?
The Honourable Murray McCully.
I've made it very clear that from the beginning this is a change process driven by people who have been engaged by the Chief Executive. I have conveyed my views.
Order. Now, members have asked a serious question. I think the House deserves to hear the answer. The Honourable Murray McCully.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Executive established the change team to engage in a modernisation project, as he's fully entitled to do. To the extent that I had concerns about elements of that program, they would have been known in advance of the consultation document being distributed. At the end of that consultation process, I thought there were some steps that I should take to focus the discussion going forward, and I took those steps.
Question number 11, Kanwaljit Singh Bakshi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.